Before we get started with this video, I just want to touch base on something. The other day I saw the shark, and the shark was doing a great job vacuuming the floor. And I said, hey, employee of the month. No, not the employee of the month. Of course, I value Jose and Simon and myself more than the shark vacuum. It was just a joke. I was joking, okay? But hey, he does do a great job cleaning the floor here, that's for sure. So today I want to continue working on the Lego City. So of course the last thing we worked out here in the city is the raised platform coverings. They actually look really good from this angle. I don't think I featured them like this in that video. That looks clean. Just got to work on the transitioning mountain build there right below Ninjago and also in the amusement park as well. What are we going to work on today? I'm really not too sure. There's so many different things that I could do. You could work on the canal, could work on the raised platform coverings, could work on the mountains, could work on the countryside, could work on texturing water, could do so many different things. But I think I'm going to work on this. What do I mean by this? Well, these gray plates. They don't look that good in front of the zoo there. And I've got some gravel roads loosely laid out on top. I think I could start embedding some of the gravel roads. I could probably transition from the asphalt road into the gravel road, and we could start millsplating this entire area over here and just sort of make this look a lot better because it doesn't look that good. It's right in the foreground here. I think I for sure need to tidy that up. So why don't we grab some of those plates that are in front of the zoo and get started. Actually, one more thing quickly too. When we extracted the dungeon from the raised platform coverings, it came out beautifully. So it remains intact, and this can be used to build a better dungeon in the future. I've got to admit though, like this guy puts in the work, puts in the hours, you know, doesn't charge me his penny, just got to empty his dustbin. It actually works out quite well. I do want to get like the larger Makita one. There's a Makita industrial one, which would go for a longer time and has a larger dustbin and has more suction. And I feel like that would be a pretty good investment. I don't think a regular household one like that is adequate for this massive space. So I do want to invest in one of those, but one thing at a time here, right? So it's funny, I extracted all of these plates and I brought them upstairs, and it looks simple. Like it's like, okay, well, that's easy. But then when you get them all up there, you're like, wait a minute, how do they go together? What do they look like? I got to make sure I get this right, because remember when I was working on the cove and I brought all the plates up there and then I actually built it the wrong way, but then it actually worked out for the cove because I think it looked better in the end. But I like configured this in the wrong way on my desk up there. Then I was like, oh no, it's not right. It worked out though, but I think if I make a mistake here, well, it wouldn't work out quite as well. It's funny, when I brought him up here, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. It's so ugly. What? Like, this is for sure gotta be fixed up. All it is just exposed base plate and then a little bit of gravel road. So yeah, that's for sure gotta be fixed up there, no question about it. So when Simon was here last, he was actually saying that when you rebuild the gravel road, I don't think you should use the 2x2 circular tiles because it sort of looks like mud. I sort of agree with that, but the issue is, what else am I going to use? Because the 2x2 circular tiles have a lot of them because they came from the pad wall, and they cover 4 studs at a time rather than 1x1 studs. Of course, it would be nice to use like quarter round tiles and plates and 1x1 circular plates and 2x2 circular plates and all that type of stuff, but I just need to make sure I have enough quantities of whatever I use because there's a lot of gravel road to create. Now, I didn't take them apart because it's on brown plate, and if I take them apart, look what's going to happen. It's all going to break, so I'm a little bit scared of that. But either way, I've got this ugly configuration of plates here, which was rather difficult to transfer upstairs just because it's hard to visualize. You know, we got the access hole there. I think there's another 48 by 48 there. So whenever I bring this stuff up here, I just need to make sure that I get it right before I put hours of labor into rebuilding it. So at first I thought it was going to be a gravel road connecting from that T intersection there where you can see me building the mills plate on top of it all the way to the countryside. Then I looked at some pictures and I thought about it and I was like, okay, in front of the zoo, are we really going to put a gravel road? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's going to give us the best flow of traffic for the zoo. So I busted out some more 16 by 16 dark bluish gray road plates. Yay, more road. But I'm actually going to be doing something a little bit differently with this road specifically in front of the zoo because I want guests to be able to access the zoo, of course.
So first off, I lay down that 16 by 16 plate, and then I start doing my underlying brick for the mills plates because I want there to be lots of green space in this area. So I'm just going to top those with green plate. Now, gravel road, great idea, great concept, but I don't think it's going to work as good in front of the zoo here because there needs to be a flow of traffic. So I've got those 16 by 16 plates there, and what I'm going to do is flip them upside down. I'm going to tack them all together using some miscellaneous 2x plate and get that at the standard road height and tack that down to the 48 by 48 base plates. I'm going to fill in some of the center studs there and lay down some great plate because I'm actually going to create a turnaround for the zoo. So this is like a drop off. I think that makes more sense than having a parking lot. Parking lots, I've done them before. There's one right around this area. I think a turnaround drop-off point is going to be way better than a parking lot. And it's also going to make more sense than a gravel road. Now, maybe hypothetically, there's a big Disney World parking lot off-site somewhere. I don't really want to build another parking lot. I thought a turnaround would be, just a better way to create more stories in front of the zoo, display some vehicles, rotate them out, and I just think it's going to be pretty cool. Only if it's done right, and that's why I'm doing a pretty cool turnaround here. I think it looks pretty sweet. It's well shaped. It's different than all of the existing roads in the Lego city, and it's never really been done before in my city, and the reason I can do it now is because I have the space to do it. So why not do it?
So we've got this T intersection here, which is going to lead toward the beach, and then there's going to be some more green space over here in front of the zoo. And I really want to do a good job of detailing this green space in front of the zoo. I think they'll be able to have like a walkway with some benches, all sorts of vegetation. It's just like this really nice walkway in front of the zoo, like some trees and stuff. I just didn't want the road to go right up against the edge of the zoo. I think that, there needs to be some sort of transition into the zoo. And this is going to be a pretty cool turnaround here. I think it's better than the gravel road all the way across. I think it makes sense to have something like this in front of the zoo. And I've done a pretty good job of tiling these off here. Those are the triangular pieces. I didn't have enough of these. I needed one more for this side here, but it's pretty nice. And that is pretty cool with the sidewalk. And then once again, there's going to be a walkway for people to actually access the entrance of the zoo. A different triangular tiled off piece over here. I did that with dark gray because I'm out of light gray ones. Not ideal, but it is what it is. Eventually I'll be able to swap those out. I'm also out of the 2x4 dark bluish gray tiles, which is sort of unfortunate. I need to order more of those for the train track and also for the roads. So for now, it's just gonna have to be exposed unless I go steal them from train track, which seems sort of counterproductive. I like this green belt in the middle. I did the sidewalk around the edge of it, which is tiled off. So there's gray plate, green plate, and the sidewalk. Ideally, I would like to raise this gray plate up one more plate, but I don't have any of the curved plates that would match that. So in order to raise it up, I need to order those curved plates. For now, I think it looks good, especially once I get some vegetation in there. It's just like a nice meridian in the middle of the road. And now I need to transition into the gravel road from here. So I think there's going to be the 12 stud entrance there, and then we'll go gravel road from there into the countryside. I know it adds more like dark gray, but I think the zoo needs some sort of pull-in to drop people off. Maybe not a parking lot, but at least a pull-in, and at least this is something different than the Lego City. We've got the meridian in the middle, they've got grass on this side, and when we place it, there'll be grass on this side as well. So the big question is why would you need air conditioning when you can just get this right here? Air conditioning around my neck. It's a little fan. It's pretty nice. Honestly, for like the, 15 days a year where I would actually need air conditioning in this place, not worth it, because once again, the vents for the air conditioning only go in the front rooms. So it wouldn't even be cool up here. You can just turn on a fan, wear these bad boys, look cooler than ever, and be cooler than ever.
So the first thing I do here is bust out some more brick and also green plate to create some mills plates, 16 by 16, 16 by 32. This is going to fill in the surrounding area in front of the zoo, between the road and the zoo. Just sort of give me the foundation for that park space that I want to build, so that is essential. Now we're actually going to start working on the gravel road, but wait a minute, I just busted out 16 by 16 dark bluish gray plates. No, is there not going to be a gravel road? Don't worry about it. I can't just go right into gravel right away. I think there needs to be some plates that actually transition into the full gravel. So I used the 16 by 16 plates and also an 8 by 16 plate. I did a border in the regular green color. I filled in some of the available studs with plates, and then I can put some of the miscellaneous brown plate, some curved slopes, some studs, some quarter round tiles, some 1x1 studs, and I can start to build a transitional plate that's going from the dark bluish gray road to the full out gravel road. And you'll notice that as I move further along to that like half green base plate there, it gets more and more covered with dirt and gravel, because eventually it's going to transition into the full out gravel road. Then I can lay my green plate and green brick on either side and case the road in. Looks pretty good. Just want to test fit this in the city before I get too far ahead of myself, because could you imagine if I build it all and it's not the right size? But everything looks like it works out, and I've got to continue working on the surrounding area as well.
Well, I'm placing that. Look what Mrs. Bricksie's doing. She's loading up a shopping cart for tiles. We need the 2x4 dark stone tiles, the 1x4, 1x6, and 1x8 light stone tiles. She's just making it $260 so we get a free candy store. Thanks, Jose. Appreciate it. You do great work.
So the next thing that I'm going to start working on is the full out gravel road. No asphalt, straight up road. And I'm using the existing road elements. Now, what I did before was I actually laid a base layer of plate, like fully, and then I put the reddish brown plate on top. But now I'm actually taking all of that plate off, just because it used so many like valuable parts that I can use for like other structures and stuff. And I'm actually mills plating it using 2x2 plates and the reddish brown plate. Makes it a bit difficult because there's all sorts of different sizes of reddish brown plate, but in the end it's going to save me a bunch of parts. You can actually see the part bin in the top left there. Oh, it's gone now. But what I'm doing is building the gravel road, and it's not perfectly straight, but you can see it goes to the right there a little bit, and that's actually going to line up with the train track, which I'm currently taking the tile off right now. And I'm making sure that everything is spaced out correctly. I'm making sure that the train track is balanced, and I also fixed the grade of the train track as well by removing one of the mills plates that it sat on, just so the grade is nice going up to the mills plated section. Also removed all those 2x2 circular tiles from this section of gravel road, and the next thing I need to do is start working on the actual green mills plates around the gravel road. So I actually put the green brick up against it first, and then I lay on my underlying brick and then just the regular green plate on top. And there will be more textures and heights added to this area in the future. It is not going to remain flat. Then I've got to do the same thing around the train track. So I do my border with the green brick, then all the colorful brick inside, and cover that with plate as well. And that's how I'm going to embed the train track right into the mills plate. Normally ballast track isn't like that, but this ballast track is starting a little bit slower than your regular mills plated ballast track, and that's why I have that slight incline there. This is more so at the same height as the dark bluish gray track that I have. Now I'm going to work on the road. So there's the road right there, which is supposed to connect to the harbor and like the train yard, and I'm actually going to make this an angled road using the dark bluish gray road plates. So more of those, but it's going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to put the white tiles in the center, and I'm not going to do the road extenders. I'm going to try and make this angled so that it lines up with the raised section of the harbor. And then I go around and actually frame more of the train track, and also start framing around the road with some of the green brick, just to create an outline, because I want to work on this at my desk upstairs where I have access to more parts. The first thing I'm going to work on up here is actually the ramp that's going to lead up to the elevated boat harbor area. I'm just going to build this with a regular 16x16 road plate. You can just make it work quite nicely. It just creates a nice ramp. Ideally, I'd like to build this out of like slopes or something like that. That would be super cool, but I don't really have very many like 1x4 slopes, and it would take a lot of those, even if it's like the 2x4 slopes. Whatever, I'm just using the road plates because it works. It gets the job done. I'm also framing in some tan there along the edge of the road. That's going to connect with the other sand on the beach. And I'm also just framing in that elevation there using some dark gray slopes and some dark gray bricks. And then I go around and add a bunch of green detail as well. It's a little more difficult around the track just because these switch tracks and curve tracks are so weird. They're such an odd shape. So getting the shape of it down is a little bit difficult, but not too hard. I mean, as long as you have the right plates and bricks, it's all good. Takes a good while, but I'm actually just listening to an audio book, so that's good. And I'm pretty excited today because Mrs. Bricksie and I, once I'm done working for the day, we're actually going to Wolverine and Deadpool. Next thing I'm going to do is actually start working on the boat launch. So I'm going to create a little platform that is 24 studs, and I build that the same way as the harbor with the road plates and some light gray brick. And then I'm going to build the ramp that goes down into the water. It's locked into place with the 1x4 light gray like modified pieces with like the lip on them, and then I put some slopes on either side just to blend in the ramp, and also to give it like a little bit of a walkway on either side. And I decided to build that in light bluish gray to break up that dark gray color. Let's test fit this and see if it works. So first I'm going to place that boat launch there and the ramp leading up to the harbor. And then after that, it's the angled road, gravel road, and the large curved track. And then I'm just going to run and grab the big switch track there with the curve that connects to the train yard tracks. And I think it works out quite nicely. Here's a little clip of it before. So we've got the exposed base plates in the gravel road by the zoo. Nothing there really. Over here, a bunch of exposed base plates and untreated train track and no boat launch. Doesn't look very good at all.
And after, I definitely think some of the improvements that I've been able to make over the last couple days improve this area substantially. But with that said, there's still lots of work to do, and it's nowhere near completion. This is just more so like the base construction of it. Here's a close-up of the boat launch. I had to do some part substitutions just because I didn't have enough in my inventory. For example, the slopes on the right side here are 2x4s rather than 3x4s. So eventually I'll have to make up those part swaps. It does look like a steep drop-off there, but we're going to be adding a plate and a tile to the top of that base plate. So once you add 2 plates worth there, well, it's going to blend in quite nicely. And of course, I need to get more of those dark bluish gray tiles as we saw earlier. Mrs. Bricksie has those on order, which is fantastic. Once those arrive, I'll be able to improve the look of this area. Now, people of the Lego City can make their way from the downtown core toward the zoo here, go around the little roundabout, drop some people off at the zoo, or they can go this way and park at the parking lot and go to the beach. If they don't want to do the roundabout, if they want to head to the countryside, they can take this gravel road, and eventually this gravel road will go over top of this train track here and move that way, where we'll have some gradual sloping and also the rest of the train yard. Now, this road isn't done yet. I mean to take a bunch of wedge plates like this, similar to how they were when this road was integrated into the campground, and just put them on the available studs so I can give this an interesting shape. And when we get over here, it's definitely going to meander a lot. It's not going to be straight like this road is here, but this is just the beginning of the gravel road, and I knew I had to get it over here to go over the straight part of the track. So there's just the 16 studs that it could go over. So I just had to do sort of a straight shot to that track there. And after they pass by the skate park and this beached area, they can take this road, which is sort of angled here. And I decided to put some studs on either side of it, which I think is pretty cool. Also the sand on the edge too. And what I could do is use some more wedge plates and fill in some of these available studs here, and we can create an interesting shape on the side of the road on either side. And you can go up the ramp right here, which is going to lead you to the harbor. And there is the boat launch there. And then I've done my best to blend in this train track for now. Eventually, all of this train track is going to be treated with underlying plate and tiles or ballasting. And all of this base plate here that's exposed will be covered up with tile or the treated train track. And that's the same with the stuff over here. But for now, I've just gone in and done all the green work. And the green work is just the base foundation. I definitely plan on adding texture and detail to all of the green space and all of the tan space in the city. This is just the rough draft. I had to rip out 2 plates here just to get this angle right, or this gradual incline right, just because this is technically 5 plates. It's a brick and then the road plate, so it's 5 plates. And down here, we're only 1 plate. So there's got to be a gradual incline, and I've decided to put that incline right here. I think that's best rather than, right here on the switch. Just if a train is either leaving the train yard or going into the train yard, it's just going to go down or up a slight grade right there. And then this grade has all been worked out as well. I start at 1 plate there, and then it goes up slowly. And then once again, I'll have to blend all this in. There's definitely a lot of blending that has to go into it, but off to a really good start over here in front of the zoo. Now it would appear that the next thing I should probably do is finish texturing this water, because the tiles and cheese slopes look a lot better than the plate. And now that we have the boat launch built, it sort of needs that. Also, that would sort of almost complete the rough draft of the front of the Lego city, I would say. And I mean rough draft because I know there's no details yet. Believe me, I can't stress the fact that there are no details yet enough. I know some people are going to say, you should, I would, you know, I do realize that there are a lot of different things that I could do and will be doing, but the details always come last. It's just a bigger priority for me to clean up those plates. Like, it looks way better than it did at the beginning of this video, that's for sure. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on by. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff coming out in the near future. Farewell.